AMD, the stock that we're waiting for. This stock has been downtrending since, March 1st of 2024. It's almost a full year. And we've just been trading into a discount, right? I personally trade ICT concepts, and based on ICT, he talks a lot about premium and discounted ranges. So how do we tell when price is in a premium? How can we tell if price is in a discount? So let's take it a step further and let's kind of dive into that. So let's take this bottom, this low here. This is from October 3rd, 2022. And we're going to drag a Fibonacci all the way to this high right up here. Okay, so I'm just going to do that really quickly, and I'll go ahead and put on the OG fib that I've been using for quite some time now. Okay, and based on ICT, and I mean based on anything in general when we're using Fibonacci, specifically the golden fib, the golden range, right? We're going to be looking at the 0.5 all the way to the 0.618. So the 618 and 0.5, that's your golden pocket, as they like to say. Okay, so based on this low and high, we can see anywhere below 50%, we're in a discount. Anywhere above 50%, we're in a premium price. So if you were to grab AMD anywhere under 140.95, technically you are in a discounted range or a discounted price. Let's take a look at AMD's history really quickly to kind of reflect. Let's take this low specifically. This was the last larger swing that we had here before this larger move up here. So let me just grab this from here, arrow all the way from here to here, back down to here, back up to here, and then we continued, right? But I really want to focus on this move up and then this move back down. Let's draw a fib from this low here all the way to this high. Okay, and let's get rid of this. Perfect. We can see that this is the optimal trade entry, as ICT likes to call it, or OTE, for AMD, right? It had a large move down into our 0.82 and then continued to push up higher. So this was in a deep discount, or as ICT, as I mentioned, likes to call it, an optimal trade entry. Now let's dive deeper into this. Let's kind of look at our premium and discount arrays, otherwise known as PD arrays. Okay, and I'm gonna write that over here so you guys are familiar, or at least get your eyes on what I'm talking about here. So PD arrays are one of three things that I usually use. Okay, the first thing is fair value gaps, or in this case, as ICT calls them, BISIs and SIBIs. There we go. The other one is going to be an order block, or OB, and the next one is going to be a volume imbalance. So these are three types of PD arrays. Now let me leave this here for you guys, and let's take a look at an example of what a PD array is. So my favorite PD array usually is the order block because it's very powerful, but frequently what I tend to use for entries is going to be fair value gaps. This is a fair value gap here. From the bottom of this, or the top of this candle's wick to the bottom of this candle's wick, we can see that these wicks are not overlapping this candle here. No wick here, no wick here. Therefore, this is an imbalance, okay? This is a BISI. This entire range needed to be balanced out. Therefore, when we had this push down, this area was balanced out. Now, let's take a look at this low here, and actually we can take a look even at this low. So this was January, I believe January 3rd, or sometime in January, AMD had its earnings there, okay? And then we can see price started to continue up higher and higher. But notice how beautiful price respected this fair value gap here, okay? Remember, fair value gap is also a BISI and SIBI. Fair value gap, a BISI is a bullish fair value gap, a SIBI is a bearish fair value gap, okay? And there's no really, the only bearish fair value gap here, there's one we saw here with AMD. If I just mark this here, this is a bearish fair value gap, otherwise known as a SIBI. Sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, okay? I highly suggest you guys go look at ICT's videos. He has a lot of sauce. Amazing, amazing mentor. So price traded to this at a fair value, then continue to push up from that level. Similar to supply and demand, I don't like using that because we don't have a logical level of where price is going to, what price is going to do. We can't just choose an area and say, oh, this is, for example, this area is a demand zone, right? Okay, well, how come it broke, right? We're trading to these areas. Notice how not a single candle closed below this box. Not a single body of these candles closed below this box. The wicks did the damage, the body told the story, right? Wicks do damage, body tells a story. Price continue to push up. Take a look at here. We have another fair value gap. Very clean. Okay, so you're looking for these PD arrays. You're looking for these PD arrays based on lows and highs to see what we're going to do next. So let's take a look here. As I mentioned before, I am looking to see if AMD can continue to push up higher and take out all of this liquidity, right? Every single one of these highs, liquidity up here, relative equal highs up here, these two, liquidity, all these highs here, this is all liquidity. Okay, so what am I looking for on AMD? Earnings is coming up, and as I'm recording this, the earnings is going to be coming up the next day, and I'm recording this for safekeeping, and I'm recording this to see what happens next. February 4th, 2025, we have traded into this fair value gap here on AMD. We closed this fair value gap, however, there's one deeper, and now I am using this range specifically. What am I looking for on AMD? This gets a little tricky. Okay, so ideally speaking, I want to see a reaction from here, and I want the earnings to inject some volatility into the market so that we can continue to push higher. Let's take a look at the weekly chart just to kind of see and understand how price is holding at this level here. Notice how the weekly candle here opens right at the equilibrium price of this entire box. That's the monthly fair value gap. Okay, there's also one fair value gap here on the weekly. That's another level we can use. So how do you know which fair value gap to use? The one that's deeper into discount, you would want to use that one if you are aiming for longs. Now in this case, I really would love to see if earnings gives us a wick all the way in this range and then bounces back up. We see a large manipulation. That's what I would love to see. Let's go to the daily so I can show you guys how this level is being respected so far. That monthly level that we're looking at, price has been trading into it multiple times, okay? If we go to the 4 hour, or actually let's go to the 4 hour here. If we go to the 4 hour, I have extended trading hours on. Please use extended trading hours, okay? Do not use anything else. Use extended trading hours. Don't use regular trading hours. The information that extended trading hours gives you is a lot better than when you don't have that. So what can I see here on extended trading hours? There's a huge gap. Well, you may ask, Anar, there's also gaps on regular trading hours. But see, that's the thing there. This is normal. This is given, right? These gaps are strong. They're powerful. However, these extended trading hour gaps are much stronger. What do I mean by that? That means if there is a gap on our extended trading hours, we want to see price trade to that level. We want to see it as a draw on liquidity. Those gaps are a draw on liquidity. For example, from the opening price here to the closing price here, this is a gap, okay? However, I would call this a void, and as ICT says on futures, he calls these voids, where there's no wicks, no bodies, no nothing, okay? These extended trading hours that we're looking at, take a look how beautifully price wicks right at the equilibrium price of that, right? Now, I want to see price trade above this gap. I want to see earnings inject volatility. I would love to see if price can trade above this high. I want to see it close above 120. So let me give you guys these levels. Close above 125.654 for earnings. And therefore, after that, we will see a continuation up to 132, which is this high up here. 132.74. and then I would love to see continuation up to 144.36. Okay, and of course way higher, all the way to 169, 174. This level up here, this is going to be a very big magnet. Okay, because these highs are relatively equal. Now please do keep in mind, and I'm going to say this again, this is a lot of low resistance liquidity that's been engineered here. Low resistance simply means when there's a trend, right? When there's a trend like this, these are a bunch of stops for people who are going short. Bunch of stops are resting here. So what market makers tend to do is they will run all these stops very quickly, especially if there's low resistance liquidity. Here's an example of low resistance liquidity right over here. Notice these highs, this little trend here, right? What happens here? Look how quickly all of that is wiped out. All of those highs are wiped out. So let's see what happens on AMD. I am looking to see, again, if we can push up for earnings. I want to see an injection of volatility. I would love to see it close above 125.65. If we can get it close above 132.74, that's much better. That's even better for me. I would love to see that. On the weekly chart, for things to really shift, the candle that you're looking for is going to be the candle of January 6th of 2025. If you get a close above this candle, specifically the body of this candle, this creates a shift in market structure, and we will see a continuation much higher. And by much higher, I mean our 144 area, and of course these highs up here. A weekly candle close above 129.07 will give us that continuation all the way to these highs, all the way to that liquidity up there. And one more thing I want to point out here before we close things here on AMD is this giant fair value gap, or SIBI, that was used to push price lower into this range here. Now, one more thing to keep in mind, look at the bodies of these candles, guys. Did we get a close above that? Absolutely not. We pushed down lower, taking out all this liquidity. Now we've died down. Now I want to see an explosion to the upside. All right. If you guys have any questions, you guys can hop in and head over to our Discord, the DTT trading community. The link is right in the description below. Please do smash that like button. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the community. If you guys have any more questions, in our Discord, we have a free space. So please do ask these questions, anything about stocks, crypto, whatever you have questions on, Forex, indices, please do go ahead and ask. We always have coverage on these stocks. Just to keep that in mind, please do be aware of that in the Discord community. Please do go ahead and just join up. There is a free section and we'll be there to help you out. All right. Thank you very much. Let's see what happens with AMD, and I will catch you guys in the next one.